This is Solasta, Crown of the Magister. It's basically a Dungeons & Dragons adaptation. I don't think it hasn't formally licensed the Dungeons & Dragons system. In fact, I think it might actually be based more closely on the original D20 system from D&D 3rd edition. I think, I'm not well enough versed in it to be absolutely sure, but it is extremely familiar to a D&D player. And one of the things that actually kind of surprises and impresses me about it, I've only played through just a little bit of tutorials so far, so I'm not an expert on this game yet at all. But one thing that kind of surprised me was how complete they were in how in adapting the sort of Dungeons and Dragons rules. I have this memory from back in the day when they first announced Dragon Age. I was on the BioWare forums, and there were a lot of people who, they just heard the basic concept of Dragon Age, that it was going to be this, big, expansive RPG, and they'd shared some early screenshots. It actually looked a lot like Neverwinter Nights at the time. It was very, very early before, before it even looked the way it did when it finally came out. But one thing that was interesting was you would hear fans making all of these requests about like what they wanted to see, and they wanted to see, thieves being able to climb through windows, and they wanted to be able to, they took all of the skills that they imagined characters having from their tabletop D&D games, and they wanted Dragon Age Origins to have all of them. And the devs kept having to say no. They kept having to say, we can't make every single thing happen. We can't just take Dungeons and Dragons and adapt the entire thing, every little thing you can do in the tabletop game. We can't just make all of those things happen. We're trying to make a certain kind of game. We're really focused on, the storytelling and the big, expansive world and all this stuff. And we can't do every single thing. The thing that's interesting about Solasta is it feels like they actually tried to make the game that those fans were asking for. And those fans, some of them actually got really mean about it, and it kind of made me, it was one of my first exposures actually to video game forum members being really, really salty about not getting the exact features they wanted. It was long before I had to keep saying no to people who asked me to add weather to State of Decay 2. But it prepared me for what that experience was going to be like. But yeah, it feels like Solasta actually took that as their, the people who made Solasta took that as their mantra. So the first thing I want to look at is the character generation system. So they give you some pre-generated characters to start. So if you want to just jump right into the game, you can. In fact, that's what I did originally. I just jumped in to try out the tutorial. But they also recommend that you make your own personal set of characters. So I already made a few here: Rhiannon, Bree, Serwyn, and Tessa. But I think let's go through the character generation system to make one more. So I think, I don't really... So this paladin is actually more of a damage dealer than a tank. This cleric is a tank. I've got a rogue. What I don't have is a wizard. So let's make a wizard. And let's make a wizard that is an uncommon race for wizards. Let's make a dwarven wizard. So let's choose hill dwarf, and actually, wait a minute. Oh, we've got hill dwarves and snow dwarves. You know what? I've never even heard of snow dwarves. Let's be a snow dwarf. And actually, I'm kind of, you know what? My face is blocking some of the screen. I'm gonna be blocking some of the screen no matter what I do. But let's. I think there's the least information on the bottom left, so that's where we'll hang out. Okay, so I'm going to be a snow dwarf, so it gives me this huge list of all of the features of a snow dwarf. Okay, so if I'm a hill dwarf, I get wisdom +1, but if I'm a snow dwarf, I get dexterity +1. I get dwarven toughness, extra hit points, or I'm proficient with a heavy crossbow. And +2 to Constitution saving throws. So there's all kinds of, kind of little subtle differences, and you could spend forever reading up on everything these characters can do. But yeah, so let's go with dwarf. And we want to be a wizard. So let's choose wizard. Being a wizard automatically gives you a certain set of equipment, but you can make some choices. So I could have a component pouch, and I'm not sure why I need one necessarily. Okay, so if I choose to have something else, an orb or a wand, will that affect my ability to cast spells? I'm going to cautiously not do that. So I could have a quarterstaff or a dagger. Let's just go with dagger just because it's unusual. And I need to have a spell book. Okay, cool. So let's say that's the equipment I want to start with this character. What's next? Okay, so I get to choose a background. So I could be an acolyte, an academic, an aristocrat. And I think these affect my access to like skills and proficiencies and things. So let's say she's got a dagger. Let's say, should she be like a low-life wizard? Like she's a criminal wizard? That feels good to me. Let's be a chaotic, neutral, criminal wizard. So you'll notice that you actually get to choose these personality flags. I think these probably affect the way your character speaks in conversation. And it might affect some other choices they have. I'm really not sure. But they advise you, I think, to sort of try to double down on stuff to make your character like really strong. So like egoism and caution appear in both of these sources of personality traits. So I'm going to just double down on those. And she's just going to be a cautious egotist. She's just watching her own back. That's what she's here to do. Next, we've got ability scores. Okay, so I love this. So you can choose how you want to generate your character's ability scores. So you could do point buy and just, have a character that's sort of perfectly balanced, or you could do a die roll. You can re-roll the dice as many times as you want. Ooh, that's a really good roll. You can use a standard array, but once I looked at these 18s and things, yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. So let's go with a high dex because she probably can't wear a lot of armor. So yeah, and then Constitution, definitely go high with that. And then Strength is the one that's going to be the least important to her. I'll grab these two for Wisdom and Charisma. All right, that's looking good. And then, and you see, if you're familiar with the D20 system, so far everything we've seen here has been just straight up, middle of the road D20 game. So I really think, yeah, this is definitely sort of like a D&D 3rd edition style thing, which is great. It's a lot of my most sort of positive memories of playing D&D are from 3rd edition. Okay, so proficiencies. So I got to choose her skills. So I'm not sure what value each of these is going to have. It looks like I got automatic proficiencies in certain things. So I guess we'll go Arcana and Investigation. Sure. She'll have the highest intelligence of the group, so worth doing that. And she doesn't get any extra languages, huh? Okay, maybe that's from her background. Okay, so now I have to choose her spells. So let's see here. What are my options? True Strike. I'm not a big fan of True Strike, just because, I mean, unless you're some kind of mage warrior, you're not going to be. If you're actually stabbing people as a mage, something's gone terribly wrong. Ray of Frost was kind of an old favorite of mine. And she, you know what? She is a snow dwarf. I feel like I should go lean into snow whenever I can. Light sounds like it might be valuable. It's weird. This game actually tries really hard to make stuff like light valuable, at least from what I've seen so far. 3 temp hit points for 1 minute. I think she's probably, how many she has 10 hit points. That actually might be an annoying bee. What? Okay, I'm sorry, like, I feel like annoying bee has got to be what I choose. I never heard of the spell annoying bee, but I'm all about it. Okay, so what else? Retreat, color spray, charm person, burning hands. Wait, is there anything that feels icy? Fog cloud, maybe. Let's go fog cloud because it feels thematically good. That's a cold sort of thing. I get 6, so identify seems like a nice utility one. There's a shield versus. Okay, so this looks like it's aimed at an ally. Mage armor is for an ally. Shield is for myself. Magic missile, the old classic. Gotta go with that. Sleep. In my experience in D&D games, sleep becomes just irrelevant to most of your enemies really fast. Oh, another way to get more temporary hit points. Okay, I could do that. Thunder Wave. Oh, pushing enemies away. You can knock enemies off cliffs in this game. So let's grab Thunder Wave. Oh, detect magic. That seems valuable. I got one more. Charm. I'm actually interested to see how Charm plays into this game. Okay, so I've selected my spells. So yeah, Red Kuga suggested that I get sleep, but just from my experience playing D&D, sleep usually has just enough limits on it. It's like it's valuable at the very beginning of the game and quickly becomes irrelevant. And so I think I'm gonna go with these ones. And now I can mess with my appearance. So there's a few different faces I can choose. Just different degrees of agedness, apparently. Let's go. She looks like she's been through the wars. You know, dark skin. You can have kind of goldish skin, which is interesting. So the color swatches here don't really feel like they accurately represent. Like this looks greenish, but it looks kind of goldish here. And then this doesn't look nearly as dark as it actually comes out here, though there aren't any skin tones that are much darker than this, unfortunately. But yeah, so I guess we could kind of go with sort of the slightly warmer tone there, and then I can choose her hair. So she's okay, yeah, kind of a low life. Lives in a back alley somewhere. Let's give her kind of the rougher hairstyle. And then, oh yeah, purple hair. There we go. Eye color, also purple. And then voices.
Die. If it doesn't kill you.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that's probably quiet enough. I'm not even sure if you could hear it, but yeah. And then what am I missing? So her personality. Okay, so she uses. So this is like just choosing like what set of voiceover she uses. Oh, you can't see behind me. It's sort of reporting on her personality and how she's going to talk, but whatever. Okay, what else have I missed? Okay, so I can write a backstory if I want to, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. Oh, but I've got to give her a name. So let's call her Violet because of her hair color. And her clan name, I guess? Interesting. So I think it just said, might have just said surname for the other characters. I guess dwarves are from a clan. Okay, interesting. So I don't know, what clan is she from? Like the Back Alley clan? I don't know. I don't know. The what would a back alley clan of dwarves be? Or like I imagine she probably comes from some, like, you know, a city built into a mountaintop or something like that. What would the clans in such a place be named? Like I don't know, named after something cavey, something icy. Glacia. Violet Glacia. Oh, that's so lame. Whatever. Another character's already using that name. Oh, what? Which one? Violet? Is there already a character named Violet? Okay, cool, I guess. Let's say Indigo then. Indigo Glacia. Sure. It sounds like a very fantasy-like name. Actually, no. It's not a fantasy name yet. Now it's a fantasy name. Yeah, we're ready to go. Okay, so I've got more characters than I need, actually. I think you need, when you start a new game, you start with 4 characters. So let's choose, let's grab, just from the personally created characters, let's start with our paladin. And let's grab our cleric. Where's our cleric? There you go. And then grab our rogue and our wizard we just made. So these 4 are going to get started. So yeah, I think you start out, yeah, so I've already played through this tutorial sequence, but it's actually, you know, I think playing through the tutorial is actually a good way to get a sense of what this game is about, because it introduces a lot of the major mechanics and demonstrates sort of the breadth of experience that the game is going for. So maybe that's what we'll do with this session is we've made a character, we will play through the tutorial.
Before the
We'll see what's up.
cataclysm, there were no gods on Solasta. No humans either. Then the rift opened. Some say it was a magical accident, or the work of an evil god. No one knows for sure. The cataclysm destroyed the old High Elf Empire. Manicalan, they called it, and twisted the land beyond recognition. Now, only the brave and the foolish go there, in search of ancient treasures. But something is happening deep in those Badlands. Whatever it is, it can't be good.
So, it's your classic Dungeons & Dragons style setup. It's a mysterious place full of magic and monsters. Adventurers go there to get rich. There's probably a deeper lore, deeper storyline going on in the background. Like, it's absolutely the classic setup. And a valiant group gathers at the Gravekeep's Cask Inn, ready to take up the challenge. So we're even going to start in a tavern. I mean, can you get more classic than this?
This beer tastes like donkey piss. Not that I'm complaining.
Hope I'm not too late. Ran into a bit of trouble on the way here.
Take a load off. There's plenty of donkey piss to go around. If you're here for the council job, get in line. Though if this Lord Karen doesn't show up soon, I may go looking for him. Another round, barkeeper. 4 of your finest flagons of donkey piss, please.
Looks like you've been waiting here a while.
We do what we have to. So what's this trouble you were telling us about?
Well, I was making my way here when 3 bandits leapt from the bushes with crossbows. They dragged me off to some decrepit prison and tossed me in a filthy cell that smelled of rat piss. Don't know what was holding the place up.
These characters talk about piss a lot. Okay, so it's the interesting part of this is I've seen that entire conversation before with a different set of characters. They had a different set of voices, different set of appearances, and so I got kind of used to the pre-gen characters that I had made originally, playing each of those roles, and so it was interesting seeing my new characters drop in and say the same things, but not in quite the same voices. They did make the exact same donkey piss joke though. Okay, so I'm starting with... The thing that I was curious about was I wasn't sure if my characters were going... Like if which tutorial each character did was going to be based on just the order in which I selected them, like which character they were, or if it was actually going to be based on their class or something. But I'm pretty sure... Let's see here. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that I think it was my cleric that went through this sequence in my first game, and now it's my cleric again. So I think it might be based on what their class is, but I'm not dead certain about that. Because I think, yeah, I'm not dead certain about that. Anyway, okay, so yeah, basic movement, understood. So yeah, so I can rotate. I can rotate the camera. I can move it around, and so yeah, so this is when I originally looked at this, I thought, oh, it's like a little isometric thing, but no, this is fully 3D. And you just click on the ground to make your character go places. So run around exploring. Yes, tutorial about a journal. You can also just use the keyboard to control the camera, which is actually more convenient than trying to use the mouse to do it. Okay, crawling. So, okay, so I can hit tab to put them. Tab centers me on them. And then, was it cautious mode that made them crawl? Oh no, I think it's just interacting with something that you'd have to crawl under. That's it. Alright. right, so trying to get... Oh, what's this? I can search this. Alright, I can grab a torch. That's nice. Oh, light source. I can actually equip this as a light source. Cool. So if I need a light source, I can actually... there you go. I can walk around with a torch. I love walking through sort of like dark caves and things with a torch and watching sort of the shadows move with me. Alright, so I can interact with glowy things like this one. And now, this is where I actually started, like, so far this looks like sort of your classic Neverwinter Nights style, D&D style game. You're just running around in sort of a 3D world like this, but here's where it started to get interesting for me. So you crawl through this little hole here, and now you are jumping and climbing, which is not something you normally see in this kind of game. So yeah, so you got a tutorial here that explains to you that basically how far you can jump actually depends on things like your athletics skill. So, like, some characters can jump across this gap and some can't. Like this character I've got here, she can't make this... Oh, wait. Oh, she can. Okay, cool. I was just clicking the wrong place. So she can make this jump. She can search this. But it was entirely possible that I could have grabbed a character, you know, who didn't have that jump skill, and they wouldn't have been able to do that. So they would have had to rely on some other means of crossing that gap, which I think you can probably see a hint about, you know, how that would be done. But so I think it's really cool that they've set up the game so that, like, the navigation of the world, like your ability to get around, is based on the same skills and things that it would be, you know, in a tabletop D&D game. You know, I can just imagine sort of asking the DM, can I jump over this? I'm a jumpy character. Can I sneak through this? I'm a sneaky character. And it looks like they're trying to set up scenarios like right here, where depending on your skills, you might find different solutions to the same problem. Now, I don't know why I'm going under here. I've already searched this chest, but whatever. I'm going to search it again. Oh, is there anything in here? Oh, weird. There's nothing in that chest I already searched. Anyway, so the thing I don't know, because I've only played through the tutorial, I don't know how well this sort of commitment to squish, this commitment to supporting this diverse array of skills, I don't know how well it carries through to the main game, because you could totally imagine, you know, them having built the entire game around this idea that, you know, depending on your character's skills, you should be able to do a variety of different things, or have, you know, a chance of failing at different methods, having to try different, you know, building the world the way you would build an immersive sim, for instance, something like Deus Ex, building the world to support a lot of different solutions to different problems and supporting a wide variety of different skills and abilities. I could totally see this game doing that, but I could also see them setting that ambition in the tutorial and then completely forgetting to support it later on in the game. So I don't know which one they've done. It is very easy to do that. I've definitely done that before. You know, you have a bunch of... Oh. I'll tell you in a sec.
Nice move, that trick with the wall. Glad you're no worse for wear.
This council needs to get organized. They have no right to keep us waiting like this.
You think the council cares about the likes of us? They'll get to us when they're good and ready. Well, let me tell you my story then. I too was accosted on the way here, but I faced my foes head on. Let's hear it then. Don't be shy.
They're even doing the classic thing where each character tells their backstory at the tavern. Like, it's like the what was the name of that? There's a sci-fi novel where the entire conceit was that. Okay, so we all rolled initiative. My initiative is higher. I'm pretty sure they contrived that for the sake of the tutorial. Okay, so when you're in combat, it's actually like grid-based combat, like you would expect from D&D. Oh, there was a thing I was in the middle of saying, which was, I've done it before too. Like, it's very easy to sort of have a great idea for a set of mechanics that are going to be really important to your game, and you come up with this, you know, variety of different strategic options that players are going to have, and then during sort of like the heat of game development, when you're building the content, you forget parts of your own system, and you end up just completely underusing stuff that you thought was going to be really important when you were designing the system up front. And sometimes it's because you designed a system that was actually not interesting enough or compelling enough to want to use it to make the content, or you just got really hurried with the content and you just simply forgot to use it. Or another thing you can do is, if you've got a lot of different people building the content at the same time, each of them might think that they're using an appropriate array of the options available, but they all made the same assumptions, and so each person thought, well, somebody else is going to be using the sneaking stuff, so I'm not going to do the sneaking stuff in my content. And then nobody does the sneaking stuff, for instance. It's completely easy to make that kind of mistake. By the way, I hope the music isn't too loud right now. Let me know if I'm getting drowned out. So it's totally easy to make that kind of mistake. So I haven't proven to myself yet that they have not made that mistake here, but I love the ambition they have of giving you sort of a variety of different options for playing through the game. Anyway, so let's walk her up here to these wolves and then attack them. So using the most obvious default moves is... they try to make that as easy as possible. Yay, it missed. I think they deliberately have made the wolves miss and me hit. Okay, yeah, so if I want to just attack an enemy, all I have to do is left click on them, but if I want to use extra abilities, I can choose them from down here. So, for instance, shove is an option that I have. So if I grab shove, I can decide, now, do I want to knock them down or do I want to push them away? That level of detail, like, normally, like, you expect, like, oh, I gotta turn to page 95 in the tabletop rulebook to see all the different rules for pushing people around. And then you get into a video game, they're like, oh, whatever, just attack them. That's, like, the only thing we offer. They offer the full range of these things, which is just crazy. So, yeah, I'm gonna push this guy away and knock a wolf off a cliff, because why wouldn't you be able to do that? And then I'll end my turn. Yeah, critical miss. Okay, so if I click dodge as my main action. Okay, so they all have okay, so it's got the idea of so I was saying that I thought this was more like D&D 3rd edition, but it's talking about disadvantage on rolls and advantage on rolls. I think that's 5th edition. So yeah, maybe this is based on the sort of the most updated version of D&D, though again, I see no references to D&D licensing here, so I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure if D&D is open source this time around the way it was when they first introduced the D20 system with 3rd edition. I don't know what the rules are, so I don't know if it's weird that this game is so like D&D. I don't know if that's weird or not. Anyway, you know what? Let's just keep pushing dogs off cliffs. I mean, why not, right? Victory! Okay, so now the combat's over, the grid's gone, and I just have to navigate. That's always got to be a slightly weird thing to manage, you know, when your game has completely different rules for navigation when you're in combat versus not in combat. But this is definitely a lot friendlier than, say, you know, trying to move around between fights in XCOM, where you have to still use the turn-based combat system, the turn-based movement system. Okay, so they're teaching me about disengaging to avoid an attack of opportunity. So let's try that out. So it's interesting. So I actually don't know what happens if I don't do what the tutorial told me to do. So I'm going to disengage, which means that now I can't attack, but I also won't incur attacks of opportunity, which is a really nice trade-off. And again, knocking dogs off cliffs. That's what this game is about. It's the knocking dogs off cliffs game.
What a bunch of namby-pambies. You're lucky you weren't attacked by Sorax.
I don't remember anyone asking your opinion.
The Badlands are thick with them. Shape-shifting bastards.
Everyone's a critic.
Aren't all drugs basically stupid?
Sorax might be legend, but orcs are quite real. And not just in the Badlands. I stumbled across a secret settlement right here in the Principality. What? I was dragging my weary ass up the hills west of here and decided to leave the road to look for a shortcut. It was a beautiful day. blue skies, birds singing. I watched one take wing and fell right into a bloody hole. Damn, that hurt like hell.
Okay, yeah, so this is where I actually officially am supposed to learn about light sources. Because this cave gets a little bit dark up here. Not as dark as it could be, but... Oh, in there. That's where it's super dark. So I wonder... Can I cast light on my dagger? Okay, so yeah. Wow, they really made that work. The first time I came through here, I just I used my torch, but they actually put a light source at the end of my weapon, and it's casting my shadow behind me on the wall. That's pretty cool. Okay, so if I had a torch, I could light these sconces, but I don't need to. Or do I? Oh, maybe that's actually... I don't remember this part of the tutorial. Maybe I actually need a flaming item in order to light these. Maybe that actually is going to progress the game. Okay, well, let's see. Do I have a flaming item? Got a candle. Let's switch to my candle. And is that going to be enough?
Light, my friend.
Now, oh, that's right. That's what I was forgetting. The first time I played through this, I had a wizard that has a firebolt spell. That's how I lit these my first time through. But this is an ice wizard, and so she doesn't have a firebolt spell.
Damn me, like I needed to fall into an orc shithole.
Okay, so she was able to respond to that because she lit the torches and could see it. Now let's get through here. Alright. Ooh, healing. Right, I took a bunch of damage, so I should probably heal. So, let's see here. I'm trying to remember. Okay, I guess I keep, like, blasting past the tutorial because I think, oh, I've read this before, but oh, that's right. I think I need to pick up a healing item in this chest. That's how I do it. Yes, there's a potion and a torch and some arrows and some food. Cool. All right, so now I think, can I use this drink potion? There we go. I am now healed. My hit points are up to 10 from the original 3.
There they are. Head down, or I'm next on the menu.
Okay, so this is where we learn about cautious mode. This is like stealth, basically. So I drop down into stealth, and it shows me this little radius around myself where if I get this close to an enemy, I'm probably in trouble. So I can, yeah, so I can go down here. But as long as I stay above the enemies, they can't see me, which is, you know, it's a pretty common trope in video games, but whatever, it works. So we're gonna crawl up here, turn this crank, and pop them out. So, I'm not even sure what happens if I climb down one of these ladders, and I don't want to find out. As a wizard, I feel so, like, wholly under-equipped to face 3 orcs at the same time. Possibly even, oh, it's even more than 3. Yeah, no, I'd be in trouble. All right, so let's hop up here. Again, pretty impressive. They just put so much sort of like climbing and jumping around in this game. Okay, so I think I don't need to be cautious anymore now that I'm not around the orcs. I'm trying to find the right angle to view this at so I can see what I'm doing. Looks like there are there's some obstacles that get this sort of cutaway effect. So I can see my character no matter where they are, but there's some obstacles that don't get it. It looks like they have to probably specifically mark up these obstacles to make them cutawayable. and some of them haven't received the treatment. But I should mention, by the way, I think this game is in early access right now, so, you know, honestly, it's a miracle it works as well as it does, because you know, you don't have to make a game work as well as this does in order to go into early access. But if you see, you know,
Camped right by the only exit. Just keeps getting better. Guess I'm waiting them out. At least these rocks are damned uncomfortable.
okay, so I need to take a rest, and it's going to show me how rests work, which is nice. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you know, if you see anything in this game that feels unpolished or whatever, like for instance the timing of that dialogue where she kind of cut herself off, it's in early access. You can expect that, you know, that kind of like fine-grained tuning is definitely, you know, still in the future for this team. Okay, so this is a spot that supports a rest, and so I'm going to get to update my spell slots. You know, like the classic D&D wizard situation, you have to rest in order to get your spells back. So yeah, so it looks like I think the rules are that you can take a long rest as long as you've got rations for everyone. So that's why I was finding those food rations in the containers. That's what basically allows me to take these rests if you find enough rations along the way. So that's, I really kind of like that rule. You know, that you can, you know, you can't just rest between every combat and just always have maxed out spells, because there's a resource that you're consuming in order to do it. And so you have to sort of carefully decide when you're going to rest and when you're not, and you have to sort of, you know, the same way you do in a game of tabletop D&D, you just have to like carefully manage your use of spells over time. All right, so now at the end of the rest, I prepare my spells. So you don't have to prepare your cantrips; you can cast those at will. I get 2 slots for spells. So let's grab classic magic missile. And let's do Thunder Wave. Actually, I'm trying to... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Okay, never mind. I selected 5 spells to prepare, so these were already selected. I figured I wouldn't need Identify, and that's probably true. Then what are these slots? If I can prepare 5, what are the slots? Does this mean I can only cast 2? Interesting. I'm not sure. This isn't lining up with my memory of how D&D works, so that's interesting. I'll have to, over time, I'll figure out how it works, I guess. Okay, so we've prepared our spells. Great. Let's head through the cave. Excuse me for a sec. And because I rested, the orcs are gone. I think that's probably a contrivance for the tutorial. I'm betting most levels don't just disappear the enemies when...
Not sure I would have slept so close to a horde of orcs.
When you rest.
Orcs have a very distinctive stink. I'm beginning to think Lord Karen might be a mythical creature.
We've all told a tale of our travels here. All but one of us.
Yeah, but I have good reason for that. It's none of your bloody business. You can't have a true friendship without trust. What are you hiding? Fine. You want to know the truth? I stopped on the way here to visit an old friend of mine and discovered he was up to his eyeballs in debt with a loan shark.
Oh, that's not good.
Indeed. He put up a family heirloom as collateral and wanted me to reacquire it. Because, you see, I can be quite stealthy when necessary.
So, I'm curious what would have happened if I had chosen... Here, let me turn down the volume of the music a little bit. If I had chosen not to include a rogue in my party, like, would they have just given this sequence to just a random character who wasn't a rogue? Or if I had chosen a ranger, for instance, which has got some things in common with a rogue, would they have... Okay, stealth, yes. Let's go to cautious mode. So, it's interesting that, so in cautious mode, you can also do things like track. Which again, tracking. How many computer games, that are based on like Dungeons and Dragons let you track characters? I mean, that's a skill that you often, see, on the skill list. But it's like, even in tabletop games, I've never made my players track somebody. It's sort of a skill that they put in the book, and then a lot of people ignore it. They actually implemented it for this game. Okay, so I think that, oh yeah, so I think they're providing this set of thief tools specifically because there's a decent chance that I might have brought a party that didn't have a thief. And so the thieves tools here are for if I don't have a thief.
Ah, Liam. Always thoughtful.
I can still sort of get around without it. Okay, so Josh Annalise says that having spell slots and prepared spells at the same time, that's a 5th edition thing. So clearly this game is based on 5th edition, not 3rd. So Josh Annalise says that yeah, you can prepare a certain number of spells, you can only cast 2. So I was accustomed to the older method where if you're a wizard, you can prepare spells and you can cast exactly those spells. And spell slots was a thing that belonged to like sorcerers and bards and more flexible spellcasters. So yeah, they got some serious fog of war in this game. So I imagine that in dark places you really will have to use your light sources and stuff in order to reveal things. The way that, you know, this area was completely dark, and the areas that are through these doors are also really dark right now. Okay, so this is a fake door. That's the real door. At least they're really clear about it. Okay, so this is about lockpicking. So I've got Thieves' Tools in my inventory, so I'm going to use them. I love these little d20s that they roll. I mean, it's just that they're really, really leaning into this idea that, you know, this is your tabletop experience, or, you know, they're trying to get as close as they can to it. Okay, so I can pickpocket enemies. So I remember how this works from the last time I played, so I'm going to go this way. And it looks like they have marked up this part of the geometry so that I can see through it with the cutaway. But okay, so this character is facing me. Oh, but okay, they're turning away. So this is the right time to go and pickpocket this character. Whoop. There we go. Got a key. I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, so see that little thing that was filling up? It was like saying, they're gonna notice you if you don't get out of here. So I think, yeah, I think I want it to be over here. So these characters didn't notice me because they're facing each other instead of me. Now again, you know, we're going to use our climbing skill. So I think we are. I'm trying to find the right sweet spot to click on the up arrow. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, a trap. So because it's a tutorial, it's going to be an easy roll. Yeah, so if you don't detect it, you'll find out when you trigger it. So I think being in cautious mode probably has something to do with why I was able to notice that trap. Man, I wish that I could roll these tutorial dice all the time.
I'm smarter than that.
Oh, and I think I just disabled the trap. Okay, so there's the prize. Now let's head back.
There you are, you filthy crook!
You? What? You're drunk. Get out of here before I kill you.
Think you scare me? Not anymore.
A grave mistake.
Okay, so they're telling me that I can't let this character die or the adventure's over. And it's also telling me about surprise attacks. So I've got initiative, and so if I can hit the character with a surprise attack, that's great. Let me look at my... Okay, yeah, so I've got a short bow here. So I could just shoot the guy with the short bow up here. He doesn't know I'm here, and so that'll count as a surprise attack. I think that gives me, like, extra sneak attack damage.
How does that feel?
There we go.
Are you four here to see Lord Karen?
We're not here to get drunk. Hey, is everyone sitting in... They're all sitting in different chairs now. So I love the fact that my dialogue choices are about who talks. So instead of it being about like I'm one character and I'm deciding what I'm going to say, instead I decide they assign the characters to the different choices, and you decide who's going to answer, which is that's a clever way to sort of handle this sort of thing. And I'm wondering if this system, it's got a lot of potential. Like I can imagine that later on in the game, like depending on what mix of characters' personality they have, I might literally have different options in different situations, and it can really add to sort of the variety and replayability of the game, and also just the sense of characterization. So a lot of appreciation for this.
Well, we're not here to drink ourselves to death.
Well, thank you for making that clear. Well, if you're here for Lord Karen of the Legacy Council, that would be me.
So, you're not a mythical creature after all.
Unlike, say, a sober adventurer?
Can you tell us more about the job?
Well, I suppose it's better if you know what you're doing. What do you want to know?
We should go, don't you think?
Very well. Come, gather your things. You're late for your swearing in.
Hurry up and wait. The story of my life.
All right, so this is as far as I've gotten. I've never actually gotten beyond this bit. This is basically where I, after playing the tutorial, my first time through, I was like, okay, let's stop here so that I can sort of discover this fresh on the stream. So the question is, should I continue right now, or should we just basically have... Yeah, why don't we say that this first video is just me creating a character and getting through the tutorial. So let's go to the end screen. Let's wrap this up for now. But I think I'll continue playing and see, how much further I can get before I just keel over and fall asleep.